Hi ADHD friends, ready to become gutsy cooks? Let's start now. Today we're going to make snickerdoodles. These are cinnamon sugar cookies. They're quick to make and fun too. Hope you enjoy the recipe. Gather your equipment, your ingredients, and yourself. The equipment and ingredients you'll need for this recipe are on the slide. You can pause here and then forward to the next chapter or timestamp. I am going to read this aloud for our visually impaired friends, or you can just let it run. Sometimes I give tips and tricks along the way. For equipment, you'll need a baking sheet, parchment paper, a large mixing bowl, measuring spoons, measuring cups, a small bowl like a cereal bowl, a hand mixer, a ruler, and a wire rack. The ingredients you'll need are 6 tablespoons of softened butter, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, 1½ cups of self-rising flour, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Get ready. Preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Then soften the butter on the counter for 1 hour or in the microwave on 30% power for 2 minutes. Usually this involves setting the time and then pushing power level 3. Place the parchment paper on the baking sheet and measure the wet and dry ingredients into little bowls. Combine. Mix the 2 tablespoons of sugar and the 2 teaspoons of cinnamon in a cereal bowl. I'm mixing it with a fork, or you can mix it with a teaspoon, and then you're going to set that aside. Add the sugar and the butter to the mixing bowl and beat the sugar and butter with the hand mixer. If your butter is a little bit cold, you may see it kind of form into pebbles like this. It's okay. It's going to go ahead and mix through once you add the egg and vanilla. Don't panic. Then add the egg and vanilla, and this time I want you to mix counting to 30. That way everything will start to incorporate. As you can see, it's getting smoother the more we beat it. Add half of the flour to the butter mixture and beat on low until it's somewhat incorporated. Stop the mixer and add the remainder of the flour to the butter mixture, and this time you're going to count to 30. When the dough starts to look like this, like actual dough, that's when you're going to stop, usually after a count of 30. You're going to unplug your hand mixer and remove your beaters. Then you're going to take a fork, or as you can see, I'm knocking them against the side of the bowl, and get the rest of the dough out of the beaters. This recipe only makes a small batch of cookies, 2 dozen cookies, but you want to make sure to get all of the available dough out. With clean hands, you're going to roll a ball of the dough, and then you're going to roll it around in the cinnamon sugar. If it gets inside the cookie, that's fine. Just more cinnamon sugar to love. And as you can see, this is a soft dough, so they are going to have thumbprints, but that won't matter because they're a butter-based cookie and they're going to spread out as they cook. You should be able to get all 24 on the cookie sheet. The reason I ask you to have a ruler for this recipe is so that you can see what 2 inches apart looks like. If the cookies run into each other, they will end up steaming each other and cooking unevenly. So you want to make sure they are 2 inches apart. Heat. Bake in the oven for 10 minutes. Set a timer or 2 timers. Finish and serve. This is what our snickerdoodles look like once you remove them from the oven. They're a little puffy. So let the cookies rest on the baking sheet for 10 minutes, and you're going to set a timer. After that, as you can see, we're going to show you the miracle of parchment paper. Now that the cookies in the pan have cooled, you can just grab one side of the parchment paper and slowly slide the cookie sheet out from underneath. You can see the wire rack through the parchment paper. It makes cleanup easy, and there's also less of a risk of having a spatula disaster. All right, now it's time to plate your cookies, or you can store them in an airtight container. They'll last up to about 4 to 5 days. Homemade cookies are always a delicious way to say I love you, and they have a lot more flavor than packaged cookies, and you save a lot of money by making your own cookies. Packaged foods have a lot of added chemicals. They also have a lot of added cost. So baking cookies are a fun and delicious way to save money. And there you have Snickerdoodles, our favorite sugar cinnamon cookie. Easy to make, easy to love. Now go get gutsy. If you like this recipe, please subscribe. Thank you for your time and attention. Now go get gutsy.